Hello and welcome to another episode of EduBiz here on the Serenity Resource Connector. We do this every third Thursday in this space for EduBiz, but we go live every Thursday at 8 p.m. Jamaica time here on the Serenity Resource Connector as we look at different areas. And for this episode, we are going to be looking at get involved, community based organizations making a difference. And we are featuring the North Clarendon Heritage Foundation up there in Northern Clarendon. And it's so exciting to be doing this because we had the counselors from those areas on in. The time is going by so quickly. We had them on last month. It was Central, that section of Clarendon. The month before, that's when we had the Northern Clarendon, the Kellys and the Croftsill on. So now we have a foundation that we're highlighting from Northern Clarendon because Northern Clarendon feeling a little left out some of the time. So we want to make sure that they are accounted for here on the Serenity Resource Connector. Being born and bred in Northern Clarendon myself, it's ever a responsibility to ensure that we keep the flames alive up there. And joining me for that discussion is Eraldine Williams-Shakespeare, Chairperson for the North Clarendon Heritage Foundation. Eraldine, welcome to the Serenity Resource Connector.
Thank you. Good evening.
Good evening. All right. We have Mundle in the house. Hello, all. Hello to you. Thank you for tuning in. Amazing. Thank you. And for those who are with us live, you can go ahead and share where you're joining us from. If this is your first time tuning in, a warm welcome to you. And if you have not yet subscribed, make sure you do so before you leave the channel. Set your notification and also share. Amazing. All right. So, Eraldine, you grew up in Northern Clarendon.
Yes.
No longer
at the foot of the Bullet Mountain.
Awesome. You're no longer living there. But that's your roots.
That's my roots. That's my vacation, my weekend, my getaway, my other project. So I technically still consider it home. I just split my time between my urban and my rural home. So I still consider it home.
And that's an interesting point that I want you to share on because there are a number of Clarendonians who are no longer living in the parish. Either they're in another parish or they're in the diaspora.
Yeah.
But for some reason, they are not involved in what's going on in Clarendon. So share with us, why did you choose to get involved by way of the North Clarendon Heritage Foundation?
So I have never really seen myself separate from North Clarendon. I am always a proud product of North Clarendon, and I always introduce myself in any space as a little girl from the foot of the Bullet Mountains. So I've always had an affinity for home and a passion for home because I'm aware of what Clarendon generally and North Clarendon specifically contributes to Jamaica and to the wider world. I believe our human resource is the greatest aspect. And as we go out, we have to remember to look back and see how we can help others. And so I was researching about my neck of the woods in recent times. There are parts of Clarendon that I would hear about as a child, but I was never permitted to visit. Maybe because I was a girl, but I was never permitted to visit them, and I was always curious. And so as I got older, I would still listen to those stories, and I would still purpose that I want to see what that is. And I always told people how beautiful my neck of the woods is. I think it's one of the most beautiful places in Jamaica. And I talk about our water. I talk about just about anything about our area. So I think it was early 2022. My uncle-in-law called me and he said, there is a group of persons who are looking at um, North Clarendon and looking at how they can impact in a positive way the community. And I had shared with him some tales from my exploits because I started to visit those places I couldn't as a child. And I was fascinated. I was in awe of what was really resident in our community that I had never experienced. And so I'd shared with him. So he said, there's a group of persons who are involved in discussion about how we can improve North Clarendon. I'd like for you to talk to them specifically about Clockhouse, which is an historical slave site that's somewhere in the foothills of the Kelletts River in the Pinders Valley estate. And so I went on in March to talk to this group, and that's where it started, and the journey continues. I became a part of the group, and currently I serve as chair. And what we are seeking to do is phenomenal. And so I really welcome this opportunity to sit with you and share, because so many of us, even those of us living within North Clarendon, who do not know the the beauty, the culture, the history that we sit on, that we exist among. And so I think it's important that, you know, we find a way to create a network between all that is positive, all that is good, all that has potential in North Clarendon, and do our best to use that to revitalize. And as our slogan says, to become a catalyst for development in North Clarendon.
Amazing stuff.
Amazing
Really,
stuff.
it's really, really great.
Really great.
But why heritage?
But
Because there are
why
so many
heritage?
things to
Because
hear
there are
about
so
all
many
these
things
different
to hear about
foundations taking care of
all
different
these different
needs. But why the
foundations
focus on
taking up
heritage?
different, but why the focus on heritage?
So I'm going to answer you from a personal and from a foundation perspective. Personally, I grew up sitting with my grandmother, my grandfather, but my grandmother did the talking, and I heard stories and stories. A lot of it was kind of like the Bible, understanding my lineage and who I was related to and how I was related to them. But I got connected to my roots. I got connected to who I am and from whence I came. And I find that I'm transmitting that to my children, and there's value in it. But then I realized too that many of the children with whom I interacted had no clue. They had no connection. They did not know who they were. They did not know from whence they came. They couldn't tell you a lick about. If you ask them who's Claude McKay, they probably wouldn't know. And so the foundation, the heritage is part of it, but we felt the heritage gave us the opportunity to speak to other aspects. So in fact, the foundation emphasizes history, it emphasizes culture, it emphasizes the geographical, so the historical, cultural, and geographical heritage of Northern Clarendon. That's what the focus is on in its full sense.
All right, and that's a great
Right? And that's
mix
a great
and a very powerful
a
combination
very powerful
as well.
combination as well.
So we're looking to see some
So we're looking
additional
to
things
see
coming
some
out. Who
additional
knows? We
things
might
coming
have a
out. Who
feature on
knows?
our
We might
culture
have a
corner
feature on our
that we
culture
do
corner
on first
that we
Thursdays.
do on first Thursday.
That would be lovely.
So looking forward to that.
I'm looking forward to that.
Yes.
So as it relates to the foundation
So as
itself,
it
what's the
relates to the
overall
foundation
vision
itself,
and the
what's the overall
mission
vision and the
of the
mission
organization?
of the organization?
So I shared with you earlier, just know what the focus is. So our mission is to really preserve and enhance those three facets: the historical, the cultural, and the geographical heritage of North Clarendon, to benefit the people of North Clarendon, both socially and economically. So that's our mission. We have some specific objectives that we aim to accomplish through our collaborative efforts. And one of them has to do with developing a sustainable state-of-the-art facility that will emphasize or focus on culture, that will focus on educational and economic development, because entrepreneurship is a major way for us to empower youths, but we have to help them see that vision. We want to also highlight the historical contributions and to engage in the promotion of the resources that are naturally a part of our community. To that end, we want to be able to help our young people learn our history, learn our culture, become aware of the different elements in our environment, and be able to offer tours. So if somebody wants to come to the community and learn more about us, they have that opportunity to having been prepared to serve as tour guides. We want them to be able to engage in people to come to North Clarendon actually, and to engage in recreational activities, to be able to relax, because we have so many opportunities for eco and agritourism in our community. And I think one of our most significant objectives is to be able to sponsor, host, or participate in events or activities that promote Northern Clarendon through events, existing events, and future creativities. And we'll be talking about one of those initiatives today. But we really want, as our old folks bid farewell from this existence, we want our young children and their parents who are not yet in tune to know the legacy that is embodied in Northern Clarendon, and to be able to transmit culture, because a lot of what Jamaica is missing is the fact that we've lost the ability to share our culture and to transmit that to the generations to come. So while they're in tune with the first world context, or the North American context, I should say, and they're in tune with those cultures, they're not so much in tune with theirs. And so it's important that we create that platform for them to be aware of what I believe is some of the, the most beautiful, rich experiences that Jamaica has to offer. And that's it within our people and within some of the more remote parts of Jamaica. And North Clarendon is one such area.
Indeed. And I am here and I'm smiling from ear to ear because I remember as I sat on the chair as the parish cultural committee. We had those conversations because the young people who entered the different JCDC competitions, there was always a question of what next. Although there are a number of persons who would have gone on and excelled in their area, the creative arts and so on, but in terms of having something in the parish to actually support that transition, that was always lacking. And I'm hearing where North Clarendon Heritage Foundation can be a part of that support system, where they can actually transition the entrepreneurial aspect of their craft.
Yes. Yes. And it begins with them appreciating, knowing what they have and appreciating it. So if I can take 2 minutes to just tell you a little bit of what. So let's start from penance and come up. So we're starting from penance, right?
Mhm.
Come through a community called Morgan Spas. I don't know how many of our children know that it's called Morgan Spas because Henry Morgan, the buccaneer, at some point in history had traversed those corridors as he fled from whichever, whether the British or the Spanish, not so sure right now, but he traversed those corridors, and the name takes its place from that. And when you come up the hill, those beautiful hills that are really, really caressed by the soft bamboo, I can't tell you how beautiful that scene is. When you come up the hills, you come to a place called Colonel's Ridge, and Colonel's Ridge has a 196-year-old church called Mount Carmel United. It would have been named Presbyterian years ago, but that's what it is. And it sits on lands the British held, some Colonel Dawkins. There's a community called Dawkins Land, much history to unearth. You come past Sharon Baptist, another old church, and you go down to an area, and people call it Turtle Pond Bottom Kellits. It's the Pindars Valley Estate that was once home to the first slave hospital in the Western Hemisphere. The estate, I believe, according to the University of Central London, It was sold in the 1700s for some 1 million something pounds. It was rich in cocoa, sugar cane, name it, they had it. And that's where Kellystown Center is. And if you have the privilege of visiting that area, you'll be seeing some beautiful architecture built by slaves, blood, sweat, and tears. Right? It was a sugar estate. It's when I first went there, I saw Cobblestone Road. The only place I saw Cobblestone Road before was in London, right? And here I'm seeing it in Jamaica, right next door to where I used to take Beverly's bus, wash at the top of the river, and never knew what was down there at the bottom. When you go to Cave Valley, when you go to Outer Seat, where British is, when you think people have been telling me about slave sites somewhere down the bottom of my River, near Sutton Side, some up by Crooked River. There is so much there, but it's been hidden under shrubbery and decay, and time is slowly eating away at it. And I think it's important that we harness that. The Bullhead Mountain, the most beautiful Bullhead Mountain, so much in that. And so it's important that we harness that, that we give our children the opportunity to know that this is a part of their community and it's significant, it's history, it's untold stories. Giving them the opportunity to be a part of that, I think that's a beautiful platform for them to become, versed in who we are and to be able to share that to others.
Fantastic. And I'm sure that with that kind of foundation, and as you share later on about what's coming up through the foundation, the upcoming activities, we'll learn more about that and how the students will get to be a part of that. And it will also help too to nurture these young people so that we'll have more aspirants for the JCDC um, Festival Queen competition, because that's what it is all about in terms of you actually embracing the culture, the heritage, and knowing about these different things and being a part of that. So you can help to do what it is that the foundation is actually doing. This is really some awesome stuff, Eraldine. And I am really, really glad that you took on the mantle to make this kind of impact in Northern Clarendon, because we can always give back. And as busy as you are, share with our viewers what's your current um, profession, so they understand in terms of the workload that you have and you're still able to be a part of what's going on.
What's going on?
I am an associate professor at the University of Technology, Jamaica. I am a teacher educator at heart. Um, I do spend a lot of time in the classroom. I spend some amount of time researching, and my newfound passion is farming. So I have been farming the lands that my grandfather planted sugarcane on years ago. So I am busy enjoying what I call therapy away from academia. I am planting ginger and yams and bananas, and I tell you, it is like meditate. It is therapy to just sit in the fields and to see what you put into the earth grow, and to be able to eat it and to be able to share it with others. It's beautiful medicine, actually, mental medicine for me, that experience. But my passion is actually in the classroom, is teaching, is sharing with young people, touching lives in a positive way. And the most impactful part of that is when they go out and they make waves and you see them. Sometimes they remember you and you're like, okay, which one is this? But the most beautiful part is knowing that there is nothing special about Eraldine, why Eraldine is where she is right now. The truth is, there have been many people who blessed me, who invested in me, and I had beautiful, beautiful grandparents. I'm from an extended family, so I would have had the best of both worlds, because if you have your grandparents and you have your parents, you've got it well. So I came from humble beginnings, and I went through the most prestigious high school in Jamaica. I went to the Clarendon College, and I was sharing earlier the impact that Clarendon College had on me. And so even though I have had the privilege of post-secondary, about 4 or 5 institutions, I introduced myself as the girl from Clarendon College. It's not the University of London, it's not the University of South Florida, it's the Clarendon College, because it's always the foundation that the roots, go deepest at. So that's who I am. And so daily, my life is I'm a Mogo, mother of girls only. I'm managing parenting, managing work, managing all my extracurricular activities because I do have other engagements. And so while our lives are full and we continue to juggle, it is always good to find something worthwhile to be a part of. And a beautiful option is looking back from whence you came and saying, okay, how can I help another little girl or a little boy from my community to do well? And it's not just about me, though. I inherited a beautiful foundation because there were some powerful people working before I became a part of this foundation. We do have our directors. We have Mr. Albert Edwards. We have Mr. David Elson, Clive Grayson, Tony Laws. We have Michael Howell. On our core exec, we have Dr. Novlet Davis, and these people are all from Northern Clarendon. Dr. Neville Graham, Dr. Lyndon Johnson, so many other persons who are part of this conversation and who continue to be willing to give of their time and efforts to this foundation. And recent times, we've had a lot of young blood injected into the cause. We have young persons who are helping us with our our ongoing competition, which we started on May 1. We have people helping in the discussions as we prepare for the Heritage Fair. So we are getting young people coming out of the community, becoming a part of it, because as we age gracefully, we have to put the system in place for continuity. And so we know we have the historical support, we have the older heads, we have them guiding us and telling us all of that fabulous history. But it's also important that we pull from the young people so that North Clarendon Heritage Foundation is just not something for now, but something going forward for years and years and years to come.
Beautiful. Because very important. You have to have that continuity plan in place so the transition can be smoother because it's not supposed to die with us. It's supposed to continue. So awesome. Yes. And we always have to make sure that it's known Clarendon College, the beacon on the hill, still shining bright. All right, and I'm sure our teachers are very proud to see what's happening because it's a part of their legacy, and you yourself as an educator in the classroom, you're continuing that legacy in terms of nurturing these young minds so that they can come and be a part of the change that they want to see in this world because that's it. We have to take a responsibility and do what it is that we see needs fixing. Each of us have a part to play, and I'm really, 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 really so delighted to see that another of my batchmate from Clarendon College is shining bright, or that blue torch, eh?
Torch.
All right, so let's talk a little bit more about the foundation as to what it is. It's relatively new, but still making stride because already you have a competition on the way. Talk us through that competition. Tell us what it is that we need to do to support, what the requirements are, and where they can access the registration form.
Thank you. So the foundation, given our mission, we jumped on our objective of ensuring that we create opportunities for our young people to be a part of this. And so we had our official launch on October 15, 2022 at the St. Bartholomew's Anglican Church up there in Good Hope, Clarendon. And we were thinking, we have to ensure that we maintain the energy, and we wanted to see what our 2023 footprints would look like. And so we designed a heritage fair that we felt would allow for us to not just sensitize the community, but to also have them involved, because engagement is important. And change is often resisted when people don't feel a part of it. And so this is our opportunity for persons to feel a part of what we're doing as we introduce ourselves. So we have designed this heritage fair for October. And part of that heritage fair is what we call our literary and heritage arts competition. And the competition opened on May 1. It will close on July 31st. It's under the theme highlighting the true spirit, beauty, and resilience of Northern Clarendon. And so it's our inaugural event, and it really just seeks to revitalize the North Clarendon region. And we're putting the emphasis on our three core areas. Um, well, four: cultural, historical, science, and geographical heritage. So, our scientific heritage, because the flora and fauna of North Clarendon is rich. There's so much up there. So, it's a three-tiered approach that comprises a literacy, and arts competition. We're going to have a church service down in October and a heritage fair. So let's talk a little bit about the art competition and who our target audience is. And so we're looking to involve our students from preschool all the way up to tertiary. So we're looking at our children in the early childhood or the infant school system, and it's so dynamic that it allows them to be a part. We are looking at our children in our primary schools, in our secondary schools, and children from, well, young people from the community who are spread across Jamaica and abroad doing tertiary level work. We also wanted it to be inclusive so that even children of North Clarendon parentage can participate. So you don't live in North Clarendon, but mommy or daddy or both are from North Clarendon and you want to be a part of it. We invite you and we welcome you because we want you to understand too that this is your legacy. So the goals of the competition are really to educate school-age children on our culture, on our history, geographical wealth. And people might say, well, how is that different from Jamaica? Jamaica presents a holistic look at the national history, but we want you to understand that embedded in that is a lot of what we have not necessarily heard about specific to North Clarendon. So our goal is to provide you with that education. We want to build a sense of community around cultural, historical, and economically viable solutions for our people. I shared with you earlier that North Clarendon was heavily invested in sugarcane. And we know that that art is not, and I consider it an art, it is not necessarily practiced as much. And people are not necessarily involved as much in that. And so there's a whole matter of their income and whether or not, what do they now depend on? What do they live off? And if that's not available. So we want to build that opportunity for them to look at other means. We want to foster an increased awareness of mental health as an area of concern in our region. And this is one of the project goals, because we recognize that as Jamaicans, we don't necessarily treat mental health as a sickness. We see it as some kind of taboo, some kind of not to be spoken of, something to be hidden. And so we want to draw some awareness of that to our community and help people understand what it really is. And you might wonder why. The true health of a people is not just in your ability to move, to mobilize and to move around. It's not just in mobility. It is also in the capacity to reason. And so it's important for us to look at that. We want to emphasize social development as a key component of improving the standards of living of our community. And we also want to facilitate networking within organizations in North Clarendon. We're not the only one. We're the newest one, in fact. There are so many that exist. And we don't want to be independent in the sense of we're one side and they're the other. We want for us to connect and see how through that connection we can empower and support each other. So to that end, we have this competition. It's a literacy and arts competition. As I said, May 1 to July 31st. The event is open to students from North Clarendon, as I said, and the area of focus is essay writing, poetry writing, and art. And our winners will be acknowledged, will receive their rewards or awards on October 16 at our Heritage Fair. Now, when we talk about the art competition, what we want you to note is all of what is embedded in there in terms of our focus on North Clarendon, right? And what North Clarendon entails. And so I want to share with you now some of those threads that form part of that form part of the competition. So students will have the opportunity to write about varying topics, right? And those topics, those themes tell the story of North Clarendon. It give them the flexibility to share on different aspects of North Clarendon, right? So I'm going to share with you that part of it, but I want to tell you a little bit about the art. The art is not just limited to drawing in pen. It's not just limited to that. Students can do a collage. They can do videos. A 3-minute video is allowed. They can do a photo essay, which means they're capturing images and they're sharing that um, with us and telling their stories through that. They have the opportunity of telling us about the history of North Clarendon. They can choose to identify an unsung hero from North Clarendon and or heroine and write about that. They can write on medicinal plants in North Clarendon, do a scientific examination of the flora and fauna in North Clarendon. So the essay competition does give them great flexibility. In terms of the art, the students can focus on our flora and fauna, whether they capture a picture or they draw it. They can focus on our landscape. They can focus on regular life in North Clarendon. Be it somebody riding their donkey to the market, if that still happens, or just a farmer going to the bush. They can choose to capture life in motion. They can choose to emphasize our people, our beauty. Any other thread that the students feel would be of value, they are welcome to share that as well. So the poetry competition now simply asks our entrants to capture the history, the culture, the beauty and scholarship of North Clarendon in the form of a poem. And our children and at the infant school level are welcome to participate in the poetry competition and the art competition. Everything else is open to all other categories. So it's very wide, it's not limiting at all. But what we're hoping is that we as a foundation will learn some more stories as the children research and as they hear from the people in their community and their parents. And then we also will be learning, because a good part of preserving what is ours is capturing those stories. And we're hoping that the essay and poetry writing and the art competition will be an excellent avenue through which we can capture those. So I know that's a lot, it's long-winded, but hopefully, you would have gotten the general gist of where we're going and what we're hoping to achieve.
Well explained. I just dropped the competition where you can submit your entries in the comments. So please copy it, paste it, share it, so that all our Clarendonians, whether they're living in the parish, remember, they don't have to be living in Northern Clarendon at this time. Once they have their Northern Clarendon heritage, they can be part of the competition. And we want to document that heritage. And I'm looking forward to seeing the creativity, because I'm sure we're going to have a lot of that going on, the videos and the essays and all those good stuff coming out of that competition. But you did share that the National Heritage Trust, for the viewers who do not understand how the Heritage Foundation work in terms of the linkage with the Heritage Trust and the requirements from that side, share with us so we can have a better understanding and appreciation for that.
Um, Thank you. So we have reached out to the National Heritage Trust um, to have them look at one of the areas of focus so far, and that's the Clock House project or the Pinders Valley Estate. They have come, they have looked at the site. For some of them, well, it's the first time some of them are hearing about it. The architecture is beautiful. I should have sent you some pictures so you could have shared it tonight, but the architecture is fabulous. They came, they looked, they're currently doing their research, and we're also doing our research, because a part of facilitating the process of seeking National Heritage Trust recognition is capturing those stories and having those stories validated, for want of a better expression. And so it's important that persons, for example, who know about Clockhouse, um, reach out to us and tell us what you know. Tell us the stories you've heard. Um, I know they were interested in finding the gravesite, and at the time of their visit, we didn't necessarily, we weren't able to find it then, but since then, we were able to identify it. So I have to again engage them to come and to see that, because that's important for them as part of their archaeological review. But it is a process, and the beautiful thing is the land on which the property sits is owned by three families, and the families have been so gracious, in allowing us to look at it and allowing us the opportunity to document the history and to share that. And that's another beautiful thing, the whole matter of collaboration and network, and having a common vision, having a common vision to preserving what is ours. And so as we start to engage people, we welcome persons to call and share, to visit our website and give us information that you may know, or share with us stories that you think would be of value to us as we seek to get the kind of attention and security that having a National Heritage Trust verified status would give us. It means that persons would not be able to damage, and it means that some efforts would be put in place to preserve what's left. And that's what's important, that in another 100 years, our children's children can actually go and see what we are seeing now. And my brother, in his younger age, would go there and tell us these glorious stories of a building with a clock face. It's called the Clock House, and I can go there now and see it, but with time it's eroding. So there needs to be some fast action to try and preserve that. And we are planning to go see the other ones in Northern Clarendon. So if you know of spaces that you think are worthy of that kind of support, let us know so we can start documenting, and hopefully our stories can lead to something more tangible in terms of preservation.
Amazing, amazing stuff. Um, as it relates to that, outside of the competition, you are also doing documentation outside of that. So that's the call now for persons to share those images. They go somewhere and but share, because for some of us, we're not so sure where Northern Clarendon starts. So call some of those main towns. Let's see if what we're
Let's
thinking.
see if what we're thinking.
So we're talking about Arthur Seat, Crosshill, Kellits, Cave Valley, Brandon Hill, Morgan Spas, Crooked River, Brayhead, Collington. Yeah. Did I miss anybody? Johnny's Hill. Can I miss my home? Can you imagine? Brandon Hill is expansive. There's so many communities embedded in there. But once you say Brandon Hill, the story is already told. So there's Turtle Pond, Kelly's, leading all the way up. I'm certain some of my other the members of the foundation would give you an even more clear picture. But those are some of the big names in terms of the communities. So within each larger community, there are subs, and it's really, once you leave Penance and you head up the hill, if you're coming from Limstead and you come up Ewaton to St. John, once you hit Cross Hill and you come to that side and you go all the way up to Claude McKay, Cave Valley side, that is us. All of the beautiful places, that is us.
That's exactly what I'm talking about, because that means that I would not qualify as being from Northern Clarendon because
From
I'm not from
Northern
outside.
Clarendon, because I'm not from
I think
outside.
you're central. I think you're central. If you where I remember your house, you'd be central Clarendon. But once Clarendon for me, you're Clarendon, because I definitely will be calling on you as we seek to finalize the slate of reviewers for our entries. So if I can't call on you because of your location, I can call on you because of your Clarendon College connection. I must share with you that the foundation is heavily steeped in Clarendon College. In fact, the majority of the composition of the foundation is Clarendon College. So Clarendon College children are invited to attend that. Well, again, because we have people from the region who attend schools, Glenmuir, Knox, wherever, we sent out our flyer to all the schools, because we want all our children to participate.
Indeed, because there's just something about Clarendon College. Boy, I don't know what it is, but wherever we go. There's always someone from Clarendon College, and it's a powerful, powerful, powerful mission that we have, and we just have to embrace it and just continue to raise the torch high as we go and pass the baton on as well. So feel free to call on me. It's really, yes. Although I'm not actively serving at the JCDC Cultural Committee anymore, I am still connected in different respects to that because there's just so many things, and that's part of the reason why this space was created, because the, all that I share in this space, I facilitate in this space, is are things that really connect with me on a deep level and part of the development process in the parish. And as the name suggests, resource connector. So if I'm not able to actively be there, I'll identify someone who can be there for you.
Who can be there for you.
And I will stand corrected. I think you are North Central Clarendon. So there's still the North in there for you.
Oh, all right. So it would be Morgan's
All
Pass
right.
up in terms of
So
the
it would be
schools.
Morgan's Pass up in terms of.
It would be no man. We're starting from I think all the way down Prospect and all the way up, all of those communities. We're not we're not looking at a political border now per se, but a geographical border. And so it would really I can always get back to you with the legal delineating marks, but it's not a political boundary line, it's a geographical boundary line. So I'm gonna definitely reach out and confirm what that is.
Awesome. And Regina is asking, can I take part too, even though I am a past student of Clarendon College?
A student of Clarendon
It
College.
is for what if you're pursuing tertiary level education, it makes you a student and you are from Northern Clarendon, and so that makes you eligible. So students range all the way up to 85 years old these days. And so once you are in student mode, you are welcomed to participate.
Thank you for that, Regina. And happy that you're able to participate. So please, I'm looking forward to your entry, Regina, to see what you're putting out there. All right, and just invite all the others in your network to share. For those who are not able to join us live this evening, be sure to share with them so that they can see and hear what is happening and support the movement as we seek to preserve our heritage. So rich, so rich. All right, and as we talk about Heritage Week, what will that look like?
What will that look like?
What we hope it will look like is a fabulous focus on everything that takes us back to our youth, that takes us back to the stories that we were told. So to that end, we're hoping to have a parade through the town of Kellits, leading up to where we hope to have the event, which is the Vocational Skills Center. We are hoping to have, as part of our initiative, a number of booths that will focus. We're hoping to have the forestry department there. We're hoping to have the SDC there. We're working on the communique to send out now, but we're hoping to have all of the entrants and the winners from the literacy competition, the arts competition there. We want to invite the 4-H clubs across the region to participate. We want to have on display craft featuring bamboo, because bamboo is such a staple in our community. It's there, it's readily available, it's accessible, but it's woefully underutilized. I know when I came home in 2019, there was heavy talk about revitalizing the bamboo industry and bringing in opportunities for farmers. In fact, I was recruited to be a part of discussions because I we have bamboo and access to it, but it never really got off the ground, and so not much was said. But we want to highlight that and to show persons that there's possibility in that. So our goal is that the technology departments of the high schools could take on little projects to see how they can use it to create eco-friendly resources, as well as larger furnishings. So small stuff, large stuff. We want to look at some traditional stuff in some. Yeah, remind our children how it was to parch coffee. I had the pleasure of watching my grandfather pick, dry, roast, beat, and then enjoy his own coffee. Our children don't know that. A lot of them don't even know the plant from which we get our chocolate. So that process of making the cocoa bars, we want them to see that live and on display. We want to have folk singing, storytelling, traditional dance. We want them to see the farmer peeling the cane, juicing the cane. One thing I would love to see, and if anybody who is watching this program can help me find someone who still knows the art of making candy, I would love to have somebody make candy at that event. I remember as a child, my grandmother would bring home that red and white candy in a circle and you would just break it apart. And it was fascinating to see how they would make it. I'd love for my children to see that. I'd love for them to experience a little educational lesson. So it's edutaining. They need to see what plants that we call common weeds. I'd love for them to see them on display and know what they are, what their purpose is, how they are of value in the scientific world, how they can use them in varying ways. So we want to bring a full experience of our food, our culture, art in all forms at the event. So things, when some you probably haven't seen in years, like asham, and for those who don't know, cassava, pone, um, those things that people might think nobody does anymore. Traditional foods like rundown and sweet potato roasted with saltfish and those kinds of things that are traditional Jamaican stuff. That's what we want to have. We want men to band. We want to have a Mr. and Miss North Clarendon Heritage Foundation competition. I'd be so excited if you want to host that for me. But there's so much that we want to have embodied in that one project, and we're working towards having that one day of event starting from about 9 a.m. till about 6 p.m., where people are free to come, look at the booths, listen to the presentations of our children reciting their poetry, telling you quickly about their papers, or going around and seeing those on display, seeing the art on display, and just understanding that we can preserve what is ours and we can celebrate what is ours. We don't often stop and celebrate the little things that our children do, and this is an excellent opportunity to bring back some life, because people from the community would be able to now come, showcase what they have, and potentially sell what they have. So that's a beautiful win-win for us. People will know who we are, they will understand what we're hoping to contribute, and they also will be able to benefit from the educational, entertaining experience that we hope to provide.
All right, let me borrow from Hope Main. Sounds exciting. The way you share that, Eraldine. I'm just picturing myself already there on the asham. You're right. I haven't seen or tasted that in a long time. Those are some good stuff. Right. Vicky Sims is saying, wonderful speech about Northern Clarendon. We love our country. Born in Clarendon. I didn't know so much wonderful things are there about our heritage. I love you, cause, for this information. All right. And Hopeton, Maine, Indigenous learning. All right. There are so many things, and yes, I am too. I'm excited about what's happening, and I am also happy to share that the discussion regarding the bamboo, is that the Peckham bamboo project that you made reference to earlier? Is it that one?
That one?
Well, not specifically a project. I know we're looking to bring persons who are actually engaged in that to the event, as well as to introduce opportunities for high schoolers, to bring that into their industrial technology. But I did hear that there is a project already in play. We have not yet liaised with that group, but that's what the foundation wants to do. We want to interact and network with these different groups and invite them to come and display what they're doing at this heritage fair.
All right, fantastic. All right, we will talk off air about that as to where it's at now and the people that you need to connect with so that you can get that going. All right, so we're gonna be doing some connecting here so we can get that going. And I'm sure that Kellett's always come big and bold when they're going go all out when they're going on in Kellett's. They know how to get things going. So I'm looking forward to that excitement up there. It's really, really amazing stuff. October being Heritage, or it's gonna be in Heritage Week. Fantastic. So there'll be a lot going on there. So we want to make sure that
What's
we
going on
coordinate.
there? So we want to make sure that we coordinate.
And people don't have to worry about accommodations because I recently went on Airbnb and I see places in Kellis. I was like, whoa, we're happening.
Happening is right. Airbnb, Kellett's, and I mean the scenery there. It's just, and we're talking, and we are hoping that with the promises of the investment in the road infrastructure across the island, that Kellett's and those areas in Northern Clarendon that has been suffering for so long will be prioritized in terms of because once there's access, it's just such a beautiful place. I haven't been there in a while, but it's just for those who have not been to Northern Clarendon, as Eraldine shared, it is so therapeutic just driving through, just turn off the AC, wind those windows down, and just drive up the hills. It is just so amazing. It feels so different. You don't even need to go to the spa. Just the atmosphere there is really, really awesome. So the Airbnb, once we get those roads fixed, it will be really amazing what will happen there in Northern Clarendon. And I am looking forward to the day before I leave this earth to see that kind of development taking place in Northern Clarendon. All right, Eraldine. So we are less than 10 minutes
Right,
to the top
Eraldine.
of the
So we
hour.
are less than 10 minutes to the top of the hour.
Yes, we're making some good progress. I share with people that when I talk to during my brief sojourn outside of Jamaica, people were more interested in real Jamaica than they were in the fancy part that they can experience. And it's not that they didn't care about that, but people really want to understand and appreciate the true qualities of a place and of a people. And I think access is a major challenge for us. And I do agree with you that it's important for us to restore that. I might share with you that in a matter of 50 something days, my family will be converging for a week for family reunion. And one of the limitations is really, and the concern is the quality of access. Can you imagine we're up there and we have a challenge health wise, and we have to be traversing these corridors just to get to healthcare? So it really is important. And it's not just about people visiting, but it's about the heart and soul of those who live there, or elderly or young people, somebody who is expecting and ready to give birth, and the challenge of moving from where we live to a place of healthcare to get the support you need. So I really agree with you that I look forward to that. I do see that something was set in the budget for it, and I'm hoping too that our efforts will be a catalyst for this to, to get some kind of um, charge towards moving forward. So we really need that. But while we wait, what can we as a people do? How can we support this venture? And giving voice to issues is an excellent platform from which to start. We can groan and complain in our corners, but what avenues do we have to share with people, or to share with the powers that be, our needs? Sometimes it's not always putting pieces of woods or stone across the streets. It's giving voice, articulating our realities, whether in print or through imagery. And I'm hoping that this competition itself will bring or pull some attention to us. I know that the people who have the responsibility are aware, and they are trying. They have expressed that they are trying, and they have expressed that something is on the way. It's not quite here yet. But while we wait, let us not become complacent. Let us continue to agitate, and let us continue to share about our communities. Some of us leave and never go back. Go back home, take a friend, go on a hike through the Bullet Mountains. It's an experience that you may want to do over and over again. Take a relaxing bath in any one of our rivers. Just spend the day picnicking, hiking, have your birthday party. you know Choose to live in true authentic Jamaica and experience it. Cheap vacations, staycations, whatever you want to call it, but go back home and be a catalyst for change. Our foundation is hoping to be a catalyst for change in Northern Clarendon, and it's not just through injecting financial support, but it's our talents, our intellect. That's what we are hoping to give. Who can we mentor? Who can we guide? Who can we give support to? And in what ways can we support people? And it's more important to teach how to than to just continue this legacy of handing out. So we want to break that tradition of dependency and to empower people to be able to take care of themselves and their families, and to build a spirit of entrepreneurship, and to build a spirit of camaraderie and connection, and celebrating the simple things in life. So that is what we really want. And we welcome persons to come on board, join us. We welcome persons to give of your time, give of your talent. We welcome persons to be a part of this initiative. All of us may not be able to give the kind of support I have to in my reality, but we all can, in one way or the other, support this initiative by giving of our time and our talents. And so we welcome persons in whatever shape or form to become a part of the foundation and to support the initiatives. I'm so sorry, I need to charge my device. To support the initiative as best as you can. So we're new and we're still recruiting. So come join us. Come be a part of change. Come be a part of positive energy for North Clarendon. I appreciate, I can't overemphasize how much I appreciate this platform and the opportunity it has given us to share, especially this competition, because I really, really want to be able to see our children and see our young people do well.
It's great having you, and the passion with which you've shared. I mean, I'm sure the support will be coming. Vicky, we need a fire station and doctors up there, or nice school country, Northern Clarendon. Well, Vicky, Sims, I'm happy to report that there are plans afoot for a fire station for Northern Clarendon. So, yes, which means that you all need to go to the local governance and community development playlist. We've been having discussions with the mayor and the different councillors, talking about all of that your councillors were on. So you want to go and check that out as to what exactly is happening in your neck of the woods, what are the plans, and all of that good information. We had the fire department on, and they were sharing the same thing in terms of the plans to expand to include additional fire stations in northern and southern Clarendon. So things are happening, not as fast as we'd love for them to happen, but things are happening. So please go visit the playlist, and you can listen to it while you're doing your household chores and those things. You don't have to watch. You can listen to it to hear what is happening. And as I mentioned, that we're having another counselors update coming up, and that's going to be, believe it's Chairperson and Rock River that's slated to be on, still up north, for next Thursday. And the councillors should be sharing what's happening in those divisions and what are the plans that are afoot for those different areas. So please subscribe, share with the different communities to make sure that they get connected and get access to the information, ask their questions, the nice ones and the hard ones. The counselors are prepared to respond. and share what it is that they're doing, what are the plans that they have to continue improving on what's there. And it's very important, and it's something that I've made mention of, the importance of the councillors, the MPs engaging with the different organizations in the communities, because it's everyone working together that will make development takes place faster and in a more organized and sustainable manner. All right, so happy that I'm able to facilitate these kinds of sharing. And Eraldine, feel free to share. Let me apologize. I'll leave a note on the script for the feedback. No, there were feedback at some point there. I'll check out the technical that is. I figured out what was causing it and fixed it somewhat. But please feel free to share so others are able to just hear more about what the foundation is doing, and look forward to get them excited about the Heritage Foundation week of activities. Oh Lord, day of activity. I don't reach week as yet. Maybe that's a premonition for maybe next year.
Maybe that's a premonition for maybe next.
We do accept the vision. Who knows?
Indeed. Thank you so much. For those who were able to join us live, thank you so much. I know there are so many other things you could be doing. We appreciate you spending the time with us here as you learn about what's taking place. Please remember to share, like, comment, subscribe, and invite others to tune in on Thursdays at 8 p.m. as we continue to engage to hear what's happening on the cultural side on first Thursdays, on the community safety and security side on second Thursdays. Third Thursdays, we go to the community level, engage in different organizations so you know what's happening, what the different organizations are doing, how you can get involved in what these organizations are doing so that we can make our space better for all of us. And fourth Thursdays, we have the counselors sharing their update for their respective divisions. And on fifth Thursdays, we have our youth leaders in this space sharing, right? So we have the youth council group, which comprises the different bodies, the police youth clubs, all the different youth organizations across the parish. So they come on and share. And my mommy's in the house. Hey, mommy. Good night. Thank you for tuning in, Hope, Maine. Thank you all. Have a great night as you continue to stay safe and continue to do good in your neck of the woods. Be blessed.